What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering on the final day of the Christmas decorations. Thumbs up to take down those Christmas decorations, finally. I have also one last gift to give you for the Christmas season is a Kwanzaa miracle, a Christmahan Kwanzaa miracle. I found probably the dumbest article of all time. You know the biggest problem with the Farcry series, besides those pesky YouTubers critiquing it? White people. Ha! Didn't you know? Those pesky whites and Christians are just ruining the game. Let's take a look at this great article. Far Cry 5 ignores both Montana's real history of fascism and its victims. They live in compounds deep in the mountains, sharing conspiracies about who really runs things, while cleaning their illegal firearms and awaiting the end of the world. One channeling Donald Trump is running for the Montana legislature and asks you to suppress disproportionately black voters oppressed to his far-right agenda by murdering them. His ex-wife kills flag-burning socialists from a helicopter. They should be in the helicopter, I thought. Isn't that how that works? With the efficiency of a South American military junta. They are somehow the best anti-fascist heroes in Ubisoft could come up with. We've seen a few games released during the Trump administration attempt to critique fascism in America. The ones that succeeded aren't afraid to tell players that white supremacy isn't some weird aberration, an otherwise egalitarian republic, but founding principle of the American democracy. Yes, that's right. Hate America. By contrast, Ubisoft clearly wants the aesthetic of a resistance to fascism in America without all the pesky baggage of critiquing whites, Christians, and Republicans and police and other groups intertwined with fascism. That's right. The whites and the Republicans and the police department. I know if you're like me, you want every one of your video games to express far left ideologies and break immersion to make a point. It's not like we can't turn on literally any television channel or any game blogging website and read about it. Our games need to do more to mold the minds of young Americans to vote the way Rock, Paper, Shotgun wants them to vote. Bald-faced fascists don't congregate in inordinately large numbers everywhere in America, but they do where I live, northwest Montana, not far from the Idaho Panhandle. The real reason neo-Nazi militias, white supremacists, and other far-right groups have thrived here for decades. Thrived! That's right, they're thriving in these demographics, which are about as white and conservative as they come. That's right, it's white people. That sounds pretty racist to me. I'm not an expert on it. But the idea that you're saying because their skin color makes them, what, more likely to be a fascist? The militia of Montana, Montana Freeman, Prussian Blue, an Act for America, Radix Journal, blah, 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 Richard Spencer, the Daily Stormer. These are just a few of the fascists that Montanans have allowed to give their state a reputation so bad that even Ubisoft has heard of it. Beyond some passing aesthetic references to non-fascist cults outside of Montana, like Heaven's Gate and the People's Temple, yeah, forget them, right? They don't fit your narrative. The inspiration behind Far Cry 5's project at Eden's Gate is all local. And that's what makes Far Cry 5's botched take on fascism in Montana so disappointing. Despite being an obviously Christian cult, the cultists sure never talk about Jesus. They weirdly aren't anti-Semitic either. Not that Ubisoft included Montana's persecuted Jewish community in the game, and seeing how every third cultist you shoot is black, I guess you're supposed to assume they are not white nationalists either. Anytime the game has an opportunity to offer the most basic critique of white America through representation of its worst actors, it backs off. That's right. I don't know about you, but there seems to be an almost unending amount of political drivel written by some of the dumbest people I've ever encountered in my life. I don't understand what there is to just understanding that video games are a form of escapism and not here to push your political ideology. Now, would you be supportive of a game that supports conservative politics? Of course not. You don't want your games to not be political. You want them to be political, but you also only want them to agree with your personal politics. And the idea that you'd be mad at a company like Ubisoft for not dividing their entire customer base with unending controversy shows how stupid you really are. The tolerance of the religion's white majority is originally attracted the fascists to this part of the country, by who edited a small Idaho paper when the Nazis started showing up, and now tracks hate groups for the Southern Poverty Law Center. That's right. That's right. Given gaming's diversity problem, it feels weird to critique a game for having too many black people. But it's an inaccuracy that points out how fundamentally Ubisoft misunderstands or doesn't care how Montana's demographics are the result and enabler of white supremacy. That's right. Because you're white, you must be a white supremacist. The idea, oh my God, do you think Ubisoft gives two ripping shits about pushing your political agenda? Could you imagine if this game had come out and done all the things you wanted? It wouldn't have sold. How stupid are you? How Montana's demographics are the result and enabler. Especially, Montana is dead last in the United States for African American population by both percentage and head count. There's only 4,000 blacks in the whole state. Wow. Well, maybe you should be writing articles that that help advertise Montana to the black community. Maybe there's something unique about it. Maybe you should be worried about that far more than what a video game is saying. I'm confident none of these people numbers are members of the national militias. Though in Far Cry 5, most of them are. Offers no real reason. It offers no statistics to back this up. Just expects you to listen and believe. Montana, and we talk about some true Montanan history. Now, again, this person expects Ubisoft to have done a deep dive into the history and political history of Montana rather than just picking a random state for the game to take place, which is, of course, what they probably did. It's weird to see Ubisoft valorize far-right politicians and militias as their heroes, considering all the options they had. Want a politician that realistically opposes fascism? How about a socialist legislator from the Crow Nation? Need an example of a militia that would actually oppose white supremacists? And what about Antifa, right? Try the American Indian movement. It's worth comparing Far Cry's failed critique of fascism in the Trump era to Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. Quite good one. The difference come down to the characters. It's not that high a bar to hurdle, but Wolfenstein's writers smartly realize that anti-fascists are anti-fascists out of practical necessity of survival. Well, yeah, because you have idiots like this person writing articles that are falsely claiming that there's huge hate groups just roaming the deserts, stringing up people left and right. Because of Ubisoft's fascists aren't written as the bigots that fascists are, their crimes are distractingly colorblind. None of the cultists are racist to the handful of named people of color in Far Cry. I thought everyone was a person of color in the game. I thought there were too many blacks. Isn't that what you're saying? You said there were too many blacks in Far Cry 5? I feel like is that the point you're making? Note to developers critiquing fascism. Swap around all the character models in the game. Does a dialogue suddenly seem out of place, like a Native American character calling a Jew the N-word? If not, tell your writers to try again. Players have right to ask for more diversity in games. No players are asking for this. No players are asking for this. I'm done reading this trash. Literally, you have Trump gifs. There's been a notable uptick in fascist activity in Montana since 2016 and 2017. Yeah, because you're making it up. Because a barroom brawl or a disagreement over a parking spot is suddenly called fascist by you people. Ubisoft didn't have to do something too new like that. A simple acknowledgement of reality would have sufficed. I skipped Far Cry 5 because I've always dreamed of moving to Montana for its natural beauty. I wasn't aware of the uptick in supremacists. Guess I'll skip the real one too. Pockets of Trump cultists and neo-Nazis would spoil the view. And this is why exclusivelygames.com is going to be a great website when it launches near the end of January. The forums are already up, which will be linked below. as well as the Discord. I'd love to have you join us over there. I hope you enjoyed this absolute drivel of an article, and we'll talk to you again real soon.